Yo, what is up? Today's video is on the cs-52 LIS, and this is a try-hard video. Of course, we are riding with Fazy the Goat, and we are in Murovanka and spawn on the south. Now, if you notice, this cs-52 is top tier in this matchup. This matchup couldn't be any better than it is. You're fighting against tier 6 tanks. You can be aggressive and you can do big damage. Now if you find yourself in this position, top tier, doesn't matter what tank you are in, when you are in top tier in a 3-5-7 matchmaking, it's your time to shine. Go forward and be aggressive. Our friend is using his speed and mobility to get into the early position and catching out even the early those early guys in the heavy tanks. They can't even make it to their positions because they don't have the speed to get there, and he is taking full advantage of that, completely farming the VKH for all his HP even before he can get into position. Now the cs-52 LIS is one of the newer tanks that came out late in 2020, and this is one of the main competitors for the T44-100. Now for you guys who are new or you don't know, the T44-100 is the top dog. It is the #1 tank or the #1 single shooter in tier 8. Of course, I'm not going to compare it with the Burask. I'm not going to compare it with the Progetto because those are auto loaders and auto reloaders, so you can't lump them up together. You could also argue that the Lorraine 40 ton is a super competitive tank in tier 8 as well. There are a lot of good tanks in tier 8, but today we are talking about the single shot tanks, and the cs-52 is right up there with the best. You can look at our friend here, already done 3,000 damage just farming these guys. If you're looking at this game here, just look at him farm everyone. Now what is the advantage that the cs-52 have over the T44-100? Well, it has higher penetration on standard shells, which is 208 on the standard AP shells, versus I think the T44-100 does 190 penetration on standard shells, and the APCR shells, which is the premium shells, 252 penetration, versus the T44-100 247 penetration. So that is a huge advantage, standard and premium shells. So if you just fire standard shells, you are going to perform a lot better than T44-100 and make a lot of credits at the same time. Also, the cs-52 does 320 damage per shot. That is 70 more damage than a T44-100. It doesn't stop there. Sorry, it does stop there, because those are the only two things that are really a lot better than the T44-100. What makes the T44-100 better than the cs-52 is the reload time. CS reloads in 9.20 seconds, while the T44-100 reloads in 7.19 seconds. This is the deal breaker here. This is why the T44-100 is going to be overall a better performer. Also, when you're talking about gun handling, although the cs-52 performs fairly close in terms of gun handling with the T44-100, it does not do better than the T44-100. 2.21 seconds aim time. T44-100 is 1.92 seconds. Also, dispersion is 0.35 versus T44-100 0.34. The other part about this is the moving dispersions, which is 0.13. The T44-100 is 0.12. You are looking at overall better gun handling. Now let's move on to the mobility wise. Now in terms of mobility, they seem fairly the same. Forward speed 50, T44-100 52. Reverse speed on the CS is 20 kilometers, while the T-44-100 is 23. It doesn't look like there's much difference there, but the difference here is in terms of the horsepower. 720 horsepower on the CS, 760 on the T-44-100. Also the power to weight ratio 19.69 on the CS, which is by no means lethargic. I mean, 19.69 is very good on a CS-52 for this horsepower and this kind of forward and reverse speed, but the T-44-100 is even better, 22.69. Also the hidden stats, which are the terrain resistance on soft, medium, hard ground, turret traverse, tank traverse, the effective terrain resistance. All these stats, the T-44-100 are a lot better than the CS-52. So overall mobility, you are talking about the T-44-100 doing much better than the CS-52 LIS. So what you're talking about here is the T-44-100 only does 250 damage, while the CS-52 does 320 damage. But overall, you're gonna get better gun handling on the T-44-100. You're gonna get better agility and mobility on the T-44-100. In my opinion, I still think the T-44-100 is a better tank than the CS-52. But however, if you want to slow down your T-44-100 gameplay, the CS-52 might be the tank for you, because even though it is slightly less in terms of mobility and agility and maybe just a hair worse gun handling, you are going to get 70 more alpha damage. Now 70 alpha damage doesn't seem like it's a lot, but think about it. After firing 2 or 3 shots, let's say you fire 2 shots in your CS-52, you would have done 640 damage, while the T-44-100 firing 2 shots would have done only 500 damage. But then again, remember, you are having a little bit of a handicap in the CS-52 because your reload time is going to be 2 seconds slower than the T-44-100, and believe me, 2 seconds reload time slower is a lot in World of Tanks, because the quicker you fire, the quicker you can do damage, and that also means the quicker you can duck back into cover in a medium distance fight when you need to poke out and shoot, and you need a combination of PPM, you need a combination of mobility. You want to shoot quick, escape quickly. This is what the T-44-100 does better than a CS-52 in my opinion. So those kind of quick games where you can be hyper aggressive, T-44-100 9 times out of 10 is going to outperform the CS-52 list. But the CS-52 list definitely has a very good position in this game. In my opinion, these are the top 2 tanks, single shot tanks that are super competitive in tier 8 gameplay. If you have a T-44-100, you have a CS-52, they are almost identical in terms of the performance potential. The CS-52 very high. You can do a lot of damage with this tank because of that 320 alpha damage. Our friend here, FaZe, has already done 8,461 damage, and he's only 9 minutes into the game. We are reaching the end of the game. There are 2 more tanks left. Is our friend FaZe going to go forward and risk it for the biscuit and see if he can get 1 or 2 more shots of damage, maybe push his damage output out to 9,000. He's done 8,647 damage. He gets taken out by the Hellcat, and the Hellcat is taken out by his teammates. Game is over. What an incredible 8,600 damage. Game. This is the highest damage that I can find on the internet about on this tank. He's got 2020 base XP for this game, and 130,000 credits he earned because he did fire a lot of premium shells to get this amount of damage. He even blocked 1,090 damage, which is, that goes to show you that the CS has a little bit of armor if you know how to angle it a little bit. So for a 10-minute game, 8,647 damage. Congratulations to VIII for the highest damage that I've seen so far, and thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.